Hi, and welcome to the 2019 Paper 2 Junior Sir High Level Question 2. So, as always, if you want to copy the notes I'm working off, just send me an email at shanetroy@gmail.com. That email address should be in the description below. So, if you are look at this question, just to know first, it's 20 minutes. This is suggested time, so it's a long one, okay? As always, with these kind of questions on statistics, there's a lot of stuff going through the background. So it's worth having a go at it yourself first and just see do you know this? If there's bits where you're getting it right or wrong, if you're getting it wrong, just maybe focusing on that area. Okay. So the question text is the following question was asked as part of a survey. The question is, how do you usually travel to work? Circle one of the following. Do you walk or cycle, take bus or train, car or other? Now part A says put a tick in the correct box below to show what type of data this question would give. You see, you have a 1 in 4 chance of getting that right. Now, numerical, continuous and discrete are one major type of data, okay, and what the other type is there is categorical, nominal, categorical, ordinal. Now, personally, the way I learned maths, whatever, I use different terminology than that, but numerical continuous is a number, okay, that can take on any form, okay, so it could be a decimal, it could be a whole number, whatever. Usually describing things like height, weight, stuff like that. Okay, it can take on any number across a range. Numerical discrete is a number, but it's a whole number. Okay, so basically, like how many bags were in the your cupboard. Okay, there is 4 bags or 5 bags or 6 bags. Now, categorical nominal is where you're using not a number but a word to describe. Okay, now nominal is just something like there's no ranking, no order to it. Okay, whereas like colors, like what are the colors of the rainbow? Blue, whatever. Okay, I'm colorblind, so I won't go down that road. Or categorical ordinal. Okay, which were just ordered. So who came first? Who came second? Third? Or the best? Worst? So there's kind of an order to that. Okay, so this is not numbers, so it's not numerical, continuous, or discrete. Okay, it's categorical data. Now, is it ranked? Okay, is walking or cycling considered the best? No. Okay, there's no order to it, so it's nominal. Okay, and that's the answer. Now, you have a 1 in 4 chance of getting it right by just guessing. Okay, so if you're stuck with any question, just try something. Okay, as much as a person who grades exam papers, it's irritating to have to grade, assess wrong answers. At least you have a chance. Okay. Now, obviously, with calculation questions like this one here, so the table below gives information about the ways men and women in Ireland travelled to work in 2006 and 2016. So this is a complicated thing. These two columns here are 2006. The columns here are 2016. And you have the column for men, a column for women, a column for men in 2016, and women in 2016. Okay, so we can use that to compare how things have changed over the previous decade. Now you're asked there to work out what's this missing number. Okay. Well, look, all the percentages should add to 100. So if you take your 100 and take away, okay, the different values, you'll be able to fit it in. Okay. Now I'm not even sure if that's what the question is asking. It says write down the modal way of traveling, okay, for both men and women in 2016. Okay. Actually, I just realized it's actually not asking you to fill that in yet. Okay. So it's just asking you to write down the modal way of traveling. So the most common thing for both men and women in 2016. Okay. So that would be, okay, it would be the car. Okay. So no, put a box around that there. I think I'm wrong. I think I've read that as being 2006. Now it's the same answer. Okay. I put a box around that for some reason. I made these notes like 6 months ago and I haven't made the video, so I'm only making it now. But it's the same answer. Okay, the car is still the most common method of transport in 2016. Okay, so that's part B. Okay, so again, both parts there are worth 5 marks. So not a lot of marks. That usually would happen because the marking scheme has been changed and other questions were given more marks. And that's usually what's happening there. Okay, now you won't know that sitting the exam. So every question is every question. So I wouldn't even worry about the marks other than the overall mark for this question. Okay. Now part C here says complete the table by filling in the 3 missing percentages. Now I've taken just a screen grab of the page there just to put it across, okay? And you complete the table by filling in the 3 missing percentages. So you have this one here. Okay, so this should all add to 100. You're going to take 15.4 plus 11.3 plus 71.4 plus 1.2 away from 100. That's going to give you the missing figure. Okay, so I've shown one sample calculation there just to show what I've done. Actually, I've done the sample calculation for this one here. Now, I could argue you should show all three calculations just to be sure or to give yourself the best chance of getting marks. For the first column there, I worked out to be 2.0. Hopefully I'm right. And I've worked out here to be the 0.7. And then the last one, I didn't do for some reason. So actually, I don't think I've done that. So if I add them up, it's a 6 and 5 is 11 and 9 is 20 and then 4 and 6 is 10. So that's 30. Okay. And then adding the units 2 and 1 is 3 and 4 is 7 and 3 is 10. Okay. That's that. And then 1, 2, and 7. Yes, it's 100. And as I do it, I realize, why would I do it? It's obviously 100. Okay. You has to add to 100%. Okay. So anyway, that's maybe why I didn't do it. I'm not, I actually can't remember. Okay. So anyway, that's part C. Okay. As I said, just show all the calculations. Okay. Just so if you do get it wrong in terms of the actual answer, that you can still get the marks for the work shown. Now, part D here, actually, just as I look here, part C and D seem to be marked together as well as part A and B, okay? So part C and D together are worth 5 marks. So you probably have, by getting this part C right, we have 4 marks, okay? That's usually what happens. You get one of the 2 parts right, you get the high partial. So Evie says, in 2006, women were more likely to walk or cycle to work than men, okay? Show that Evie is correct using numbers from the table. So they're telling you she's correct, okay? You just have to back it up by being specific, okay? So in 2006, women, okay, were more likely to walk or cycle, so walk or cycle this one, okay, than men. Well, okay. Based on percentages. Now, again, unless this table had some skew, like women made up 60% of the population, okay, that's the only thing that might be wrong there. But they're telling that's not what's happening. So I'm just going to state what the table says. In 2006, 15.4% of women walked or cycled, okay, whereas only 12.1% of men walked or cycled. Okay, that's part D. So again, if you'd gotten this second part right and fluffed part C, you'd have gotten the partial 4, the high partial 4. Now part E here says, Alison says more women must have travelled to work by car in 2016 than in 2006, because 71.9% travelled by car in 2016, but only 71.4% did in 2006. Now, even without looking at it, do you think more women are working in 2016 than worked in 2006? Probably. As we've gone through history in Ireland, more women are entering the workforce as time passes. Okay, so that 71.9% might seem like a bigger number. Okay, but it depends what that is of. If that's of 71.9% of a million women, okay, that's might be a different number than if it's 71.4% of 2 million women. Okay, if you get the concept there. The size of the percentage doesn't matter. It's what that percentage is telling you about the total body. Okay, even the fact that the population in 2016 is larger. Okay. Okay, so just clicking the screen grab in for the answer there, because Alison's not correct. She can't be sure. Maybe the population has declined due to immigration or whatever, lower birth rates, whatever. Maybe it's gone up, but you don't know that data. Okay, so you can't make an assumption. So 71.9% of a smaller population could be less women, okay, than 71.4% of a larger population. Okay. Now, part F there, let's go back just to keep it blank. Again, you should always try pause this and just have a go, okay, and then see can you get with the answer I've gotten from the marking scheme. So in total in 2016, roughly 990,000 men and 880,000 women travel to work. Using the figures in the table, work out the total percentage of people who travel to work by bus or train in 2016. Give your answer correct to 3 significant figures. Okay, so significant figures is not decimal places. Okay, it's similar, but it's not the same thing. Okay, so be conscious of that fact. And as always, there's lots of words. I often say, and the times I mess these questions up myself is when I've kind of read it or half read it and then went, oh, I get this. Okay, and I just tear in, do a great calculation, it's beautiful, whatever. And then I realize after, or I don't realize after until like I get graded, and I go, oh, I misread it. Okay, so don't be afraid to read this question 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 times, whatever you need. Okay, there's lots of words here. It is confusing. Don't in the back of your mind, everybody, I presume, is going, oh, I didn't get this on the first read. I must be stupid. Okay, no, you're not. Okay, it's just that this is confusing. Language can be confusing. Keep that in mind. Don't let the little voice in your head, knock your confidence. Okay. I'm going to use the answer here. So I've taken the screen grab into the answer from the thing. So you'll be able to just flick back the page, depending on how it's ordered, and in the exam itself. So the bus or train is what's important. So even just acknowledging the bus or train is the thing we're talking about, and it's 2016 we're focused on. Okay. So this is the data we're looking at. Okay. And I would basically kind of go, look, even just write that down on the page. If you make any use of those two pieces of information, okay, you're going to get the attempt mark. Now, part E and F are marked together, okay. So if you can get, you say you got part E completely wrong, okay, and you just used 8.3% of 990,000, you'd be on the low partial. Okay, so always be trying to aim for the attempt first, and then build on that in terms of getting the full marks if possible. So 8.3% of 990,000, okay, is a calculator job. Okay, so multiply the 990,000 by 8.3, divide by 100, or use the calculator function for percentage, whatever way you do it. Same here, the 10.5% of the 880,000 is this number, 92,400. And we're asked to work out the total percentage of people who travel to work by bus or train. So men and women, okay. And you have the first one there. Okay, you have the second figure there we worked out. Okay, add them together, you get your total amount of people. Okay, now you're dividing that by the total amount of people we're talking about. This is the total amount of people who travel by bus or train. This is the total amount of people, which is the 990 and the 880,000. Okay, so you're making this fraction here. Okay, and multiply that by 100. I got roughly 9.3%. Now here's where your kind of say problem solving, but your kind of logical thinking can come into play. If you had done that the other way around, you'd have got a number greater than 100%. You can't have more than 100% of people going by bus or train. That's just not how that works. So just kind of in your back of your mind, we kind of put them through your, I often call it the BS meter, okay? And just going like, does that make sense? If it doesn't, check back your work. Very easy to make mistakes, especially in wordy questions like this. Now, part G, part 1 now. We'll speed it up because I'm on 13 minutes. It says, this is worth 10 marks, so we're into the big money. Actually, let's see, part 1 and 2 are worth 10 marks. So again, they're doubling up the answers. Complete the table below showing the angle in a pie chart for each of the ways men travelled to work in 2016. Show your work, give each angle correct to the nearest degree. So look, we know that in a full circle, there's 360 degrees, okay? Now you can always do a pie chart by percentages, but they're asking for angles, okay? So they want that. So 12.2%, okay, is 12.2% of 360, okay? So I've probably done it there. So I'm adding them all up, that gives the 100, okay? And then 12.2 divided by 100 multiplied by 360 gives me the number of degrees. And they say give each angle correct to the nearest degree. So 43.92 rounds up to 44, okay? And 29.88 rounds up to 30, it's there. The one here rounds up to 216, that rounds down to 51, and that rounds up to 19. Okay, so the one there, 19.0, so it rounds down to 19. Now I just use my protractor. Now if you didn't bring one, okay, you should, okay, you can always estimate these, okay. The big thing, now I mark leaving cert, but they do say label and put the size in. So if you forget one of those things, you get a deduction of 1 mark, okay. So it's worth just kind of, I haven't even bothered drawing it in for some reason. Okay, so I don't know why I didn't put it in. It's an oversight. Now if I start, let's see, even from there, okay, you have your protractor. You put your center point of the protractor, and you've measured 30, so I'm going to guesstimate it. That's my 30, okay. And then put your size of your angle. Apologies, I'm using the mouse to this, and it's always terrible. That 30 is bus or train, so BRT. And then you line up your protractor on this line, and let's say do the 44 next. Okay. The order of them doesn't matter. Let's say it's 44. Now, you get the idea. Okay, so I should have filled that in. I don't know why I didn't. Let's go back and amend that. Which maybe, as I was talking, I was thinking, actually, I never back here. I never rounded out to 3 significant figures because this currently, the way the answer came out on my calculator, it had 4 decimal places. But the answer people might make there is 9.335, thinking that that's 3 significant figures, and it's not. Okay, all 3. The 9 is in significant figures is counted. Okay, so the 9 and the 3 and the 3, okay, are your 3 significant figures. So the answer is 9.33, but you're rounding, okay, because of significant figures. The 5 would make the 4 round up by 1, so it'd be 9.34%. Again, that would be 1 mark out of the entire thing for that part E and or part F, whatever. So it's not the end of the world, but it's not that 1 mark could be the difference between getting over the line to an A or 1 or 2 or 3, whatever way it ends up being done. So the part H here, I think it's the end, is it? Yeah. So part H, okay, says the diagram below shows the main ways that primary school students traveled to school from 1986 to 2016. And you have car has been increasing, walking or cycling has been going down, and bus or train has been decreasing. Okay. And that's from 1986, okay, to 2016. It was in primary school in 1986. And you were asked to write a paragraph to describe the information the diagram gives about the ways that primary school students travelled to school over the period from 1986 to 2016. In your answer, you should use the information in each of the 3 lines of the diagram and be, so actually I said that, be as descriptive as possible. Now, personally, I think this is terrible. Okay, this is in one sense not maths. In another sense, it is maths. Maths is just a way of describing the world using mathematical language, which is partially English. So again, it's for some students this can be really, really hard to do, but it is a skill we should all have. Okay, so it's worth taking some time and just kind of honing those skills. Communicating as you go through your career you'll find will be one of the most important skills you'll ever get or develop. Okay, so if I take car first. Okay, in 96, I could be specific, okay, was roughly around 24%, okay, and over the next 30 years, over the next 30 years has dramatically risen to a current level of 60%, okay. Traveling by walking used to be the most common method, and about half students walked or cycled. That's dropped down to less than 30%, in and around 25%. What's the last one there? Bus or train. Bus or train in 1986 came in around 19%, rose slightly, and then has dropped off to a level of about 10% in 2016. Okay. Now, I've said that here. Okay, I haven't maybe not said the same things I've said there. There is no wrong answer here from as the way you say that might be different than the way I say it. It doesn't mean you're wrong. Okay, from a grader point of view, grading that is really, really hard because you have to read it carefully to make sure the person got the marks. So if you've anything decent, I'd say any grader doing it is kind of going to go, look, they showed me they get it, give you the 5 marks. And I imagine, and again, I can't say for sure, that's what how people were asked to interpret the scheme. Okay. Right, that's the end of question 2. So it took me literally 19 minutes to go through it. Okay, it probably takes something the same for you to get it done. Okay, so thanks very much and see you on question 3.